The alarm sound filled the communication center at 3 in the morning. Commander Jake Morrison ran down the empty hallway, his boots making loud sounds on the metal floor. He had been sleeping when the emergency call came in. Now he was wide awake. Lieutenant Amy Clark was already at her station when Jake arrived. Her fingers moved fast across the control panel. Numbers and symbols filled the screen in front of her. She looked worried. "What do we have?" Jake asked, walking up behind her chair. "It's a distress signal, sir," Amy said. She pointed to the screen. "It started 3 hours ago. The signal is coming from very far away, about 47 light-years from Earth." Jake looked at the strange symbols on the screen. "Can you understand it?" Amy nodded. "The computer is working on it. The message uses math, sir. Simple math that any smart species would know. Like 2 + 2 = 4. They're using these numbers to make words." More people arrived in the communication center. Other officers and workers came in quickly. Everyone knew that alien signals were rare. This was only the 3rd time in human history that aliens had tried to talk to Earth. "Show me what we know so far," Jake said. Amy pressed some buttons. The screen changed. Now it showed words in English. The computer changed the math symbols into our language, but some parts are still unclear. Jake read the words on the screen. His face became serious. "This is bad. They're asking for help." The message was simple but scary. An alien species called the Valen was in trouble. They had a big ship with over 50,000 people on it. Another group of aliens called the Kreks were attacking them. The Valen ship was losing the fight. "How much time do they have left?" Jake asked. Amy looked at her numbers. "According to this, about 6 hours before their ship is destroyed." Jake felt his stomach drop. 6 hours was not much time. The Valen, were 47 light-years away. Even the fastest human ships would take days to reach them. "Get Admiral Hayes on the line right now," Jake ordered, within 10 minutes. Admiral Peter Hayes walked into the communication center. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. But when he saw the message from the Valen, his eyes became sharp and focused. "Tell me everything," the Admiral said. Amy explained the situation again. The Valen ship was huge, carrying mostly families and children. The Kreks Empire had surrounded them with many warships. The Valen had weapons, but they were not strong enough to win. "Why are they calling us?" Admiral Hayes asked. "Surely there are other alien species closer to them." Jake had been thinking about the same thing. "Sir, I think we might be the only ones who got their message. Or maybe we're the only ones willing to help." The Admiral read the message again. His face was hard to read. "The Valen don't know anything about humans, do they?" "No, sir," Amy said. "This is the first time they've contacted us. They probably sent the same message to every star system with intelligent life." Admiral Hayes was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "What do we know about the Kreks Empire?" Lieutenant Bobby Chun walked over with a data pad. "Sir, our deep space sensors have picked up information about them before. The Kreks are bad news. They've taken over 17 star systems, they capture other species and make them slaves." "And the Valen?" the Admiral asked. "They seem to be peaceful," Bobby said. "Their message talks about their families and children." "They're not warriors, sir. They're just people trying to survive." Jake watched the Admiral think. Everyone in the room was quiet. They all knew this was a big decision. Earth had never gotten involved in alien wars before. The human government always said they wanted to be careful with alien contact. But Jake also knew Admiral Hayes. The old man had been a soldier his whole life. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth. He did not like bullies. "Sir," Jake said quietly, "if we do nothing, 50,000 innocent people will die." Admiral Hayes looked at him. "And if we do something, we might start a war with the Kreks Empire, a war that could reach Earth." The room stayed quiet. Everyone understood the problem. Helping the Valen was the right thing to do, but it was also very dangerous. Amy spoke up. "Sir, there's something else. The Valen message mentions that they've called for help before. Other alien species told them to solve their own problems. No one else is coming to help them." Admiral Hayes walked to the big window that looked out. At the stars, 50,000 people, he said to himself. Yes, sir, Jake said, including children. The Admiral turned around. His decision was clear on his face. Contact Fleet Command. Tell them we're deploying the 7th Fleet immediately. The room exploded into activity. Officers started making calls. Amy began sending messages to ships all over the solar system. Jake felt his heart beat faster. This was really happening. Sir, Lieutenant Chun said, the 7th Fleet isn't ready for combat. They're still doing training exercises near Mars. Then get them ready, Admiral Hayes said. I want every ship prepared for battle within 2 hours. 2 hours? Chun looked surprised. Sir, normal preparation takes at least a week. Admiral Hayes smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Lieutenant, the Valen don't have a week. They have 6 hours. And we're going to use every minute we can get. Jake understood what the Admiral was thinking. The Krex Empire had probably never fought humans before. They didn't know what humans were like. They didn't know that humans came from a world that tried to kill them every day. Darth was what the galaxy called a death world. The weather was violent. The animals were dangerous. Diseases and disasters happened all the time. Most alien species thought Earth was too dangerous for intelligent life, but humans had survived on Earth for thousands of years. They had learned to fight back against everything that tried to kill them. They had become very good at surviving impossible situations. Amy, Jake said, send a message back to the Valen. Tell them help is coming. Amy typed quickly. What should I say exactly? Jake thought for a moment. Tell them that the humans received their message. Tell them to hold on. Tell them we're coming. Admiral Hayes nodded, and Amy send a message to the Krex Empire too. What? Should I tell them, sir? The Admiral's eyes were cold. Tell them that the ship they're attacking is now under human protection. Tell them to stop their attack and leave the area immediately. Amy looked worried. Sir, that might make them angry. Good, Admiral Hayes said. Let them be angry. In 2 hours, they're going to learn why that's a bad idea. Jake watched the Admiral leave the communication center. He knew that everything was about to change. For the first time in human history, Earth was going to war to protect strangers. People they had never met, who lived on the other side of the galaxy, but Jake also knew that this was exactly what humans would do. When someone asked for help, humans helped. Even if it was dangerous, even if it was impossible, the Krex Empire was about to learn something new about the galaxy. They were about to learn that humans don't abandon people in trouble. And they were about to learn why that made humans the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The space dock around Earth had never been so busy. Ships that had been sleeping in orbit suddenly came to life. Lights turned on, engines started warming up. Crews ran through the metal corridors carrying equipment and supplies. Captain Lisa Bennett stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, watching the organized chaos through the big windows. Her ship was the largest in the fleet. It was 3 kilometers long and had enough firepower to destroy a small moon, but it had never been used in real combat. Status report, she called out to her crew. All weapon systems are online, reported Lieutenant Kevin Turner from his station. Shield generators are at full power. The Fold space drive is charging. Up now, Lisa nodded. The Fold space drive was humanity's newest technology. It could bend space itself, allowing ships to travel faster than light. The trip to the Valen would take 5 hours instead of several years. Captain, called out Chief. Engineer Danny Rodriguez over the communication system. We're loading the last of the emergency supplies now. Medical equipment, food, repair materials. Everything the Valen might need, Lisa smiled. Even in the middle of preparing for war, humans were thinking about how to help the people they were trying to save. Good work, Danny. How long until we can leave? 90 minutes, Captain. Maybe less if everyone keeps working this fast. All around the solar system, other ships were making the same preparations. The 7th Fleet was the largest group of human warships ever put together. 12 heavy cruisers, 36 destroyers, and over 200 smaller ships. Each one was loaded with weapons, supplies, and crew members who had volunteered for this mission. "Ma'am," Kevin said, "we're getting a message from Earth Command." "The Galactic Council is telling us not to go." Lisa walked over to Kevin's station. "What exactly are they saying?" Kevin read from his screen. "They say the Krex Empire is too powerful. They say we should wait and try to talk to them first. They say attacking the Krex could start a big war." Lisa felt anger rise in her chest. "What about the 50,000 Valen who are about to die?" "The Council says that's unfortunate, but not worth risking a larger conflict." Lisa shook her head. This was exactly why humans had never joined the Galactic Council. The other alien species were too afraid to do what was right. They would rather let innocent people die than take any risks. "Kevin, send a message back to the Council," Lisa said. "Tell them that humans don't negotiate with bullies. Tell them we're going to help the Valen whether they like it or not." Across the fleet, similar conversations were happening. The alien species in the galaxy were used to careful, slow decisions. They would spend months or years talking about problems before doing anything, but humans were different. When someone needed help, humans acted fast. On the destroyer UE's Lightning, Commander Carl Fisher was talking to his crew in the main meeting room. The room was packed with sailors, engineers, and Marines. Everyone looked serious but determined. "Listen up," Carl said. "We're about to fight an enemy we've never seen before. The Krex Empire has conquered 17 star systems. They have more ships than us, and they've been fighting wars for a long time." The room was quiet. Everyone understood the danger. "But," Carl continued, "they've never fought humans before. They don't know what we're capable of. They don't know that we come from a world that tried to kill us every single day." A young Marine named Nicole Evans raised her hand. "Sir, what if we can't win?" Carl looked at her. "Then we'll make sure the Valen escape while we're fighting. Our job is to save those 50,000 people. Everything else is secondary." Nicole nodded. She understood. This wasn't about winning or losing. This was about doing the right thing. Back on the UES Defiant, Lisa was getting reports from all the ships in the fleet. The preparation was going faster than anyone had expected. Human crews were working around the clock, taking quick breaks to eat and drink coffee, then going back to work. "Captain," called out Navigator Helen Park, "I'm getting some interesting information from our long-range sensors." Lisa walked over to Helen's station. "What do you see?" Helen pointed to her screen. "The Krex ships around the Valen vessel. They're not just attacking randomly, they're being cruel on purpose." Lisa studied the sensor data. The Krex warships were targeting the non-essential parts of the Valen ship first. They were destroying things like gardens, art galleries, and recreational areas. They were trying to terrorize the people inside before killing them. "They're playing with their food," Lisa said quietly. "Yes, ma'am. This isn't warfare. This is torture." Lisa felt her anger grow stronger. She had read about species like the Krex Empire. They didn't just conquer other worlds. They enjoyed causing pain and fear. They fed on the suffering of others. "Any word from the Valen?" Lisa asked. Kevin checked his communication panel. "They're still sending distress signals. Their shields are down to 30% power. They're asking if anyone is coming to help them." Lisa grabbed the microphone. "Open a channel to the Valen ship. Channel open, Captain." Lisa took a deep breath. "This is Captain Lisa Bennett of the United Earth Defense Force. We received your distress call. We are coming to help you. Hold on for 5 more hours. Do not give up. Help is on the way." The response came back quickly. The Valen voice sounded surprised and hopeful. "Captain Bennett, we are grateful for your offer of help. But the Krex Empire has 47 warships." "How many ships are you bringing?" Lisa smiled. "Enough." An hour later, the fleet was almost ready to leave. Lisa stood in the center of her bridge, watching her crew work. These people had volunteered to fly across the galaxy to help complete strangers. They were risking their lives for people they had never met. "Captain," Danny called from the engine room, "Fold space drive is fully charged. We're ready to go." Lisa looked around at her crew. Kevin at Communications, Helen at Navigation, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Cooper at Weapons Control. All of them were ready to fight and possibly die for the Valen. All ships, Lisa announced over the fleet communication system. This is Captain Bennett. We are about to begin our journey to the Kepler 442 system. Our mission is simple: save the Valen and stop the Krex Empire. She paused, looking out at the stars. The other species in the galaxy think we're crazy for doing this. They think we should stay home and let the Valen die, but we're human. We don't abandon people who need help. The fleet channel was quiet. Everyone was listening. In 5 hours, we're going to show the Krex Empire something they've never seen before, Lisa continued. We're going to show them what happens when you attack innocent people in front of humans. We're going to show them why Earth is called a death world. The responses came back from all over the fleet. Ready to go, Captain. Standing by. Let's do this, Lisa looked at Helen. Navigator, set course for Kepler 442, maximum speed. Course set, Captain. Lisa sat down in her command chair. All ships, engage fold space drives. Let's go save some lives. The stars around them began to bend and stretch. Space itself folded in on itself. The largest human fleet in history disappeared from Earth's orbit, racing across the galaxy to help people they had never met. The Krex Empire had no idea what was coming for them. The human fleet dropped out of fold space at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Captain Lisa Bennett stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, staring at the main screen. What she saw made her stomach feel sick. The Valen colony ship floated in. Space like a broken jewel. It was beautiful even while being destroyed. The ship was made of some kind of crystal that reflected light in rainbow colors, but huge pieces of it were missing. Debris floated around it like a cloud of glittering dust. My God, whispered Lieutenant Kevin Turner. Look at the size of that thing. The Valen ship was over 3 kilometers long. It was shaped like a flower, with different sections spreading out like petals. Each section probably held thousands of people. Lisa could see that some of the outer sections had been completely destroyed. Tactical report, Lisa ordered. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Cooper worked at his station. Numbers and symbols filled his screen. I count 47 Krex warships surrounding the Valen vessel. They're arranged in a hunting formation. The Valen ship shields are down to 15%. Lisa studied the enemy ships. The Krex warships were black and angular. They looked like giant insects made of metal. Each one was about half the size of the UES Defiant, but they moved fast and had powerful weapons. Captain, Kevin said, we're receiving a transmission from the Valen ship. Put it through. A voice filled the bridge. It sounded tired and scared. Unknown vessels, this is Elder Zephyr of the Valen colony ship Harmony. Are you the humans who promised to help us? Lisa picked up the microphone. This is Captain Lisa Bennett of the United Earth Defense Force. We're here to help you. Can you tell us your current status? Captain Bennett, we are grateful you came. But you should know that we have been fighting for 8 hours. Our weapons are almost out of power. Our shields are failing. We have wounded people who need medical help. Lisa felt her anger growing. How many people are on your ship? 53,000, Captain. Mostly families with children. We are not warriors. We are colonists looking for a new home. And the Krex? The Valen voice became sadder. They have been playing with us, Captain. They could have destroyed us hours ago. But they are taking their time. They seem to enjoy our fear. Lisa looked at the tactical display. The Krex ships were not attacking the Valen vessel's main sections. Instead, they were slowly destroying the outer areas. They were making the Valen suffer on purpose. Captain, Ryan said quietly, I'm seeing something strange. The Krex ships are targeting specific areas. They're destroying the schools first. Then the medical centers, then the food storage areas. Lisa's hands made fists. They're not just conquering. They're being cruel. Yes, ma'am. This isn't warfare. This is torture. Suddenly, the communication system crackled. A new voice spoke. This one was harsh and cold. Unknown vessels, this is Commander Thak of the Krex Imperial Fleet. You are entering Krex territory. Leave immediately or you will be destroyed. Lisa grabbed the microphone. This is Captain Lisa Bennett of the United Earth Defense Force. You are attacking innocent civilians? That ends now. There was a pause, then the Krex commander spoke again. He sounded amused. Humans, we have heard rumors about your species. You are from the third planet of a yellow star. A primitive world with primitive people. Commander Thack, Lisa said, I'm giving you one chance. Stop your attack on the Valen ship and leave this system immediately. The Krex commander laughed. It was an ugly sound. Or what, human? You have brought some ships to threaten us? We have conquered 17 star systems. We have destroyed hundreds of fleets. What can you possibly do to us? Lisa looked around at her crew. They were all watching her, waiting for her orders. These people had volunteered to fly across the galaxy to help strangers. They were ready to fight and die for people they had never met. Commander Thack, Lisa said, you're about to find out. She turned to Ryan. Battle stations. All ships prepare for combat. Alarms began sounding throughout the fleet. On every human ship, crews ran to their positions. Weapons came online, shields powered up. The human fleet spread out into attack formation. Captain, Kevin said, the Krex ships are moving to intercept us. They're leaving the Valen ship and coming toward us. Lisa nodded. Good, that gives the Valen time to repair their shields. The Krex formation was impressive. 47 warships moving together like a school of deadly fish. They had obviously done this many times before. Their movements were smooth and coordinated. Ma'am, Ryan said, the Krex ships are much faster than our intelligence reports suggested, and their weapons are more powerful too. Lisa studied the tactical display. The Krex Empire had been conquering star systems for decades. They had experience, they had better technology. They had more ships, but they had never fought humans before. All ships, Lisa announced over the fleet communication system. This is Captain Bennett. The Krex Empire thinks we're just another weak species they can bully. They think we'll run away when things get dangerous. She paused, looking at the enemy ships getting closer. They're wrong. We're human. We don't run away from bullies. We run toward them. The response came back from all over the fleet. Ready, Captain. Standing by. Let's show them what humans can do. Lisa looked at her crew. Kevin at communications, his face determined. Helen at navigation, her fingers ready on the controls. Ryan at weapons, checking his targeting systems one more time. Captain, Ryan said, the Krex ships are in weapons range. They're powering up. Their main guns. Lisa sat down in her command chair. All ships, attack formation Alpha. Target the Krex ships harassing the Valen vessel first. The human fleet moved forward. The Use Defiant led the way, its massive guns turning toward the enemy. Behind it, the other ships spread out in a pattern that would have looked insane to most military commanders. The humans were not trying to stay safe. They were not trying to minimize their losses. They were charging directly at an enemy that outnumbered them. Captain, Kevin said, we're receiving a transmission from the Valen ship. Elder Zephyr wants to know if we're actually insane. Lisa smiled. It was not a nice smile. Tell him we're human. It's basically the same thing. The first Krex ship opened. Fire. Red beams of energy shot across space toward the UES Defiant. The human ship's shields absorbed the impact, but the whole bridge shook. Return fire, Lisa ordered. The Use Defiant's main guns fired. Blue beams of energy shot toward the Krex ship. The enemy vessel's shields flared and collapsed. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. One down, Ryan reported, but the other Krex ships were firing now. The space around the human fleet filled with red energy beams. The human ships took hit after hit, but they kept moving forward. Damage report, Lisa called out. Shields at 70%, Ryan said. Hull damage on deck 7 and 8, but all weapons are still online. Lisa watched the battle unfold on the tactical display. The human ships were taking more damage than the Krex vessels, but they were also moving faster and hitting harder than the enemy expected. Captain, Kevin said, the Krex commander is transmitting. Again, he's asking his ships why the humans won't retreat. Lisa stood up. Tell him it's because we're from Earth, and on Earth everything tries to kill you. So we learned to fight back. The battle was just beginning. But already, the Krex Empire was learning something new about the galaxy. They were learning that humans were different from every other species they had ever met. They were learning why. Earth was called a death world. The battle had been going for 20 minutes when Commander Tony Martinez realized something was wrong. His ship, the UES Wolverine, was much smaller than the big cruisers. It was fast and had good weapons, but it was not built to fight big battles. But that was exactly why Tony's plan was going to work. "All right, people," Tony said to his crew over the ship's communication system. "We're going to do something that will either win this battle or get us all killed." His navigator, Lieutenant Sarah Kim, looked at him with worry. "Sir, what are you thinking?" Tony pointed to the tactical display. "Look at how the Krex ships are fighting. They stay in formation. They support each other. They fight like a team." "That's good tactics, sir," said his weapons officer, Lieutenant Mark Johnson. "It is," Tony agreed. "But it means they're not ready for someone who fights crazy." Tony had been studying the Krex ships for the last 20 minutes. They were good fighters, but they were predictable. They followed rules. They did what military schools taught them to do, but Tony had learned to fight on Earth. And on Earth, the rules were simple. Survive at any cost. "Sarah, plot a course straight through the middle of their formation," Tony ordered. Sarah stared at him. "Sir, that's suicide. They'll destroy us before we get halfway through." Maybe," Tony said, "but maybe not. Mark, I want you to fire at everything we pass. Don't aim carefully. Just shoot at anything that moves." Mark looked confused. "Sir, that's not how we're supposed to fight," Tony smiled. "Mark, we're not supposed to be here at all. We're supposed to be back on Earth, safe and sound. But instead, we're 47. Light years from home, fighting aliens to save people we've never met." He looked around at his crew. "The Krex Empire has been winning battles for decades because they fight smart. But we're not going to fight smart. We're going to fight human." Tony opened a channel to the 5 other small ships in his squadron. "This is Commander Martinez. We're going to do something called the Deathworlder Spiral. Follow my lead, and whatever happens, don't stop firing." The 6 human ships suddenly changed direction. Instead of staying with the main fleet, they dove straight toward the center of the Krex formation. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Captain Lisa Bennett watched the tactical display with amazement. "What is Martinez doing?" "I think he's lost his mind," said Lieutenant Commander Ryan Cooper. The 6 small human ships flew directly into the middle of 47 enemy warships. The Krex vessels turned their guns on the small ships, filling space with red energy beams, but the human ships were moving too fast and changing direction too quickly. They flew between the Krex ships like insects, firing their weapons in all directions. "My God," Ryan whispered. "They're not trying to hit specific targets. They're just shooting at everything." Lisa watched as the UES Wolverine flew directly under a Krex cruiser, firing up at its belly. The enemy ship's shields collapsed and explosions rippled across its hull. "It's working," Lisa said, with surprise. The Krex formation was falling apart. The enemy ships were so busy trying to hit the 6 small human vessels that they were getting in each other's way. 2 Krex ships accidentally fired at each other. Another one collided with a 3rd ship while trying to turn. "Captain," Kevin said, "we're getting a transmission from the Krex commander. He's asking his ships what's happening." Lisa listened to the translation. Commander Thack was screaming at his captains, asking them why they couldn't hit 6 small ships. One of the Krex captains replied, "Sir, their tactics make no sense. They're accepting damage that should destroy them." "They're not trying to survive," Lisa smiled. "That's where you're wrong," she said to herself. "They're trying to survive. They're just doing it the human way." The UES Wolverine took a direct hit from a Krex battlecruiser. The small ship's shields failed completely. Its hull was burning in 3 places. But it kept fighting. "Wolverine, this is Captain Bennett," Lisa said over the communication system. "You need to get out of there." "Your ship is badly damaged," Tony's voice came back, full of static. Negative, Captain. We're not done yet. The Wolverine flew directly at the largest Krek ship in the formation. The enemy vessel fired everything it had at the small human ship. The Wolverine's armor melted under the assault. Pieces of it broke off and floated away, but Tony kept flying straight at the enemy ship. He's going to ram it, Ryan said. At the last second, the Wolverine fired all its remaining weapons at point-blank range. The Krek ship's shields collapsed instantly. The human ship's missiles punched through the enemy's hull and exploded inside. The Krek's battle cruiser broke apart in a series of explosions. "Wolverine report," Lisa called out. Tony's voice was weak but happy. "Still here, Captain." "But I think we're going to need a new paint job." The Deathworlder spiral had worked. The Krek's formation was in chaos. Ships were crashing into each other. Captains were screaming orders. The careful organization of the enemy fleet was gone. "All ships," Lisa announced. "Attack now while they're confused." The human fleet charged forward. The Use Defiant led the way, its massive guns blazing. The other ships spread out, firing at every Krek's vessel they could see. The Krek's Empire had conquered 17 star systems. They had destroyed hundreds of fleets. They had never lost a battle, but they had never fought Deathworlders before. The human ships fought like nothing the Kreks had ever seen. When their shields failed, they kept fighting. When their weapons were damaged, they used whatever still worked. When their hulls were breached, they sealed the holes and kept going. "Captain," Kevin reported, "the Krek's commander is trying to reform his fleet. He's ordering his ships to retreat to a safe distance." Lisa shook her head. "Don't let them regroup. All ships pursue the enemy. Don't give them time to reorganize." The human fleet chased the Krek ships across the star system. What had started as an organized battle became a wild chase. The humans were smaller in number, but they were faster and more aggressive. Commander Carl Fisher, captain of the destroyer Use Lightning, caught up with a group of 5 Krek ships trying to escape. His ship was heavily damaged, but all its weapons still worked. "This is Lightning," Carl announced over the fleet communication system. "I've got 5 Krek ships cornered. They're trying to run." "Let them go," came a voice from another ship. "We've already won." Carl looked at his tactical display. The 5 Krek ships were fleeing toward the edge of the system. But they were also the ships that had been torturing the Valan civilians earlier. "Negative," Carl said. "These are the ships that were attacking the children. They don't get to run away." The Use Lightning accelerated toward the fleeing Krek's vessels. Carl's ship was badly damaged and outnumbered 5-1. But he was human, and humans didn't let bullies escape. The chase lasted 10 minutes. When it was over, all 5 Krek ships were floating dead in space. Back at the main battle, the fight was almost over. Of the 47 Krek ships that had started the battle, only 12 were still fighting. The rest had been destroyed or disabled. "Captain," Ryan reported, "the remaining Krek ships are trying to surrender." Lisa looked at the tactical display. The Krek's Empire had learned something today. They had learned that humans were different from every other species in the galaxy. "Accept their surrender," Lisa ordered. "But keep our weapons trained on them. I don't trust them." The battle was over. The Krek's Empire had suffered its first major defeat, and the galaxy would never be the same. But most importantly, 53,000 Valan civilians were safe. And that was all that mattered to the humans who had flown across the galaxy to help them. 3 weeks after the Battle of Kepler 442, Elder Zephyr of the Valan stood before the Galactic Council on the planet Harmony Prime. The great meeting hall was filled with representatives from over 200 different species. They had all come to hear about the humans. Elder Zephyr was tall and thin, with skin that looked like crystal. When he spoke, his voice was soft but clear. Every being in the hall could hear him perfectly. "Honored council members," Elder Zephyr began, "I stand before you today because 53,000 of my people are still alive. 3 weeks ago, we thought we were going to die." The hall was completely quiet. Everyone wanted to hear this story. "The Krek's Empire surrounded our colony ship with 47 warships. They could have destroyed us quickly, but they chose to torture us instead. They destroyed our schools first, then our hospitals, than our food storage areas. They wanted us to suffer before we died. Some of the council members looked uncomfortable. The Krex Empire had been doing things like this for years, but most species were too afraid to talk about it. We sent distress calls to every civilized species we could reach, Elder Zephyr continued. Most of you told us that helping us was too dangerous. Some of you said it was not your problem. Others said we should try to negotiate with the Krex. A representative from the Altarian Federation stood up. He was a blue-skinned being with 4 arms. Elder Zephyr, the Council's advice was sound. Direct military action against the Krex Empire could have started a galactic war. Elder Zephyr looked at the Altarian calmly. Ambassador Kell, with respect, your advice would have resulted in the death of every person on my ship, including 8,000 children. The Altarian sat down quickly. Then the humans answered our call, Elder Zephyr said. A species we had never heard of. A species that was not even a member of this council. They received our distress signal and immediately deployed their largest fleet. Chairman Vel, the head of the Galactic Council, spoke up. The chairman was an ancient being that looked like a floating jellyfish. Elder Zephyr, we have reviewed the battle records. The human response was extremely aggressive. They attacked the Krex without any attempt at negotiation. Elder Zephyr's crystal skin seemed to glow brighter. Chairman Vel, the Krex Empire was in the process of murdering my people. The humans understood that some situations require immediate action, not endless discussion. In the back of the hall, Admiral Peter Hayes sat with the human delegation. He was wearing his formal military uniform, but he looked uncomfortable in the political setting. Next to him sat Captain Lisa Bennett, now promoted to Admiral after the battle. The humans fought with an intensity we have never witnessed, Elder Zephyr continued. Their ships took damage that should have forced any rational species to retreat. But they kept fighting. They accepted losses that other species would consider unacceptable. A representative from the Zenthari Collective stood up. She was a tall, pale being with large black eyes. Elder Zephyr, are you saying the humans are reckless? No, Ambassador Nix, I am saying the humans are brave. There is a difference. Elder Zephyr touched a control panel, and a holographic display appeared above the hall. It showed the battle from the Valen ship's perspective. Watch this section carefully, Elder Zephyr said. This is when 6 small human ships flew directly into the middle of the Krex formation. Military experts will tell you this was suicide. The hologram showed the 6 human ships diving into the enemy fleet. Krex weapons fired from all directions. The human ships were hit repeatedly, but they kept fighting. The lead ship was commanded by a human named Tony Martinez. His vessel took damage that should have destroyed it. His shields failed, his hull was breached in multiple places. But he kept fighting until every Krex ship in that formation was defeated or retreating. Some of the council members looked impressed. Others looked horrified. After the battle, Elder Zephyr continued, the humans immediately began rescue operations. They sent medical teams to help our wounded. They shared their food and supplies with us. They worked for days to repair our ship. The hologram changed to show human medical teams, working alongside Valen doctors. Human engineers were helping to fix the damaged sections of the crystal ship. But most importantly, Elder Zephyr said, they asked for nothing in return. They did not demand payment. They did not ask for territory or trade agreements. They helped us because it was the right thing to do. Chairman Vel floated forward. Elder Zephyr, the Council appreciates your testimony. However, we remain concerned about the humans' aggressive nature. Their attack on the Krex Empire was unprecedented in its violence. Admiral Hayes stood up. Chairman Vel, may I respond to that? The chairman's tentacles waved in what might have been annoyance. Admiral Hayes, you may speak. Admiral Hayes walked to the center of the hall. He looked around at all the alien representatives watching him. Honorable council members, 3 weeks ago you received the same distress call that we did. You all chose to do nothing. You decided that 53,000 lives were not worth the risk of making the Krex Empire angry. The hall was completely silent. We made a different choice, Admiral Hayes continued. We decided that innocent people in danger deserve help, regardless of the political consequences. That's not aggression. That's moral courage. A representative from the Thyler Imperium spoke up. Admiral, your actions have destabilized the entire sector. The Krex Empire is mobilizing additional fleets. They are threatening retaliation. Admiral. Hayes smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Ambassador, let them come. The galaxy should know that humans don't abandon people in trouble. Chairman Vell's tentacles moved in agitation. Admiral Hayes, the Council's approach emphasizes careful diplomacy and peaceful solutions. Your species' tendency toward violence is concerning. Mr. Chairman, Admiral Hayes said, with respect, your peaceful solutions were about to watch 53,000 people die. Sometimes violence is the only way to stop greater violence. Captain Lisa Bennett stood up to join Admiral Hayes. The Krex Empire has conquered 17 star systems. They have enslaved millions of people, and they were never going to be stopped by diplomacy. Captain Bennett, Chairman Vell said, the Council has been working on diplomatic solutions to the Krex problem for decades. Lisa looked around the hall. And how has that worked out? How many more systems have they conquered while you were talking? The hall erupted in angry voices. Some representatives were shouting at the humans. Others were arguing with each other. Chairman Vell was trying to restore order. Elder Zephyr raised his hand, and gradually the hall became quiet again. Honored Council, Elder Zephyr said, I have one more thing to say. He looked directly at Chairman Vell. The humans have asked me to deliver a message to this council. What message? Chairman Vell asked. Elder Zephyr's crystal skin glowed brighter. The humans are establishing permanent defense patrols in 3-star systems known for piracy and slave trading. Any attacks on civilian vessels in those systems will be met with immediate human response. The hall exploded in noise again. Representatives were shouting about jurisdiction and authority and galactic law. Admiral Hayes waited for the noise to die down. Then he spoke in a voice that carried clearly across the hall. The age of letting bullies do whatever they want is over. Humans are in the galaxy now, and we protect people who cannot protect themselves. 3 months later, crime rates in those 3-star systems had dropped to almost zero. The mere presence of human patrol ships was enough to scare away most pirates and slavers. The Krex Empire tried to attack the human patrols twice. Both times, they retreated after taking heavy losses. The galaxy was learning a new truth. There was a species out there that would fight for strangers. A species that would risk everything to help people in trouble. The age of Deathworlders had begun, and the universe would never be the same.